Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music. Today I'm here with Gary Carpentier, who has just released his latest single, Drive, shared on April 23rd, and it's pretty fantastic, I have to say. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well myself. How's your day going? What's news? What's happening in Syracuse?
It's we're finally out of the snow, so it's great. I like the warm weather. It's finally here. But yeah, new single out, new music, so always something to be happy about.
Always. Well, obviously, the single is what I want to talk about. The first thing I really want to know is, did you go into this single wanting to do something different than your past releases?
Yeah, I think that the album I released last year called Lucid, it was a 5 song EP, and it really kind of hit on a bunch of different genres. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself uh, with my original stuff, so I kind of just whatever vibe I was feeling, whether it was like R&B, pop, whatever, just kind of wrote it, went with it. But this one, Drive, is very me. It's like the most authentic version of myself in song, and I'm really happy about it. So it's kind of like that pop indie alternative vibe that anybody that, if you listen to music and you like music, you will like this song. It's just one of those songs that make you want to get in your car and literally go for a drive. So it's
That's
pretty
awesome.
great.
Well, wanting to get out of the house and do absolutely anything at this point, we'll definitely be popping it on any
Right.
amount of short or long drive.
Exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that this was your first single release of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this year, yeah, I released one about this same time last year called Time for Me. But yeah, this is my first of what I'm hoping is about 4 songs that I'm going to release this year, but this will be the number one of the year. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any plans for those yet? Are they in the works? Can you
Yeah,
not
they're
say? I guess it really depends on you.
yeah, no, I can say that's fine. They are still in the works. I think one's gonna is like about halfway done. But the other two have been written, just need to be recorded, and the next one I'm just finishing up now. But really, just putting all the time and focus into Drive and celebrating that, and take like a week to really kind of bask in that.
Yeah, well, yeah, you absolutely should. I know how much work goes into these types of releases. And
Yeah.
so I kind of want to talk about the production side of things. So how involved are you in these songs? Are you writing the lyrics? Do you have a hand in the instrumentation? How does that work on your end?
Yeah, no, all of my songs are I write all the lyrics for them. Usually the process of it starts out with just the acoustic guitar and a pen and paper. But
Classic.
thanks, yeah, exactly. Thanks to technology, I have my iPad that I just kind of plug in my interface, and sometimes I'll just record ideas and then layer a vocal part and then some harmonies, just kind of go from there. And it might even start with like a line I've heard, whatever. But yeah, production value, I really work hand in hand with my good friend Steve Brown over at Brown Mixing and Mastering here in Syracuse. We worked on my EP last year together, and we've become really tight through it. So we kind of bounce ideas off one another. We have a really good vibe and just a good understanding of one another. So production wise, we're both hand in hand in that through the whole process. As far as like songwriting and structuring goes, that's a lot of me. Sometimes Steve will throw in a really good idea that I just like can't get off of, so we'll just kind of build off of that. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the beauties of music, is finding somebody that you can really vibe with on that musical stance. And yeah, it's just a fun process every time we get a song going.
I'm sure of it. Also, having someone like that who you can trust and who gets
Yeah,
you and,
yeah.
sort of sees the output and the image that you're trying to craft up, like that's a person you
Hmm.
want to keep around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that especially with this song in particular, I had a vision going in, and everything that was in my head came right out into this song because of him. Like, he helped pull a lot of
Nice.
like the little nuances that I didn't know exactly how to do on the the technological side of it. He
Mhm.
just got it. We sat and figured it out, and I'm so pumped about it. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So this is your opportunity right here to get as deep as possible, or you can give a vague answer. It's completely up to you.
Sure.
Not necessarily on this single, but in sort of the grand scheme of everything you've created so far. What are you trying to accomplish overall?
Like in music in general, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
What's the
Um,
end goal? What's the aim?
yeah. I mean, my goal is to, I don't need to be selling out, Wembley Stadium overseas and stuff. That's not what my end goal is. And that'd be great. But
Those are,
my,
I think, too big of dreams, but
yeah,
who
right.
knows?
But my end goal is really that I can support my family and wake up every single day and write music, produce music, and play shows. Like that's the dream. I
Right.
would, if I don't have to have a day job and just worry about, you know, writing quality music and writing with friends and playing music with friends and be able to spend time with my wife and, eventually my kids and my family. That's what I want. I don't need to be super famous. I don't need to be super rich. I don't need all that. I just want to be able to, when somebody asks me what I do for a living, I can tell them I'm a touring musician. That's my dream.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
not to bash the people that dream too big or anything, but I think something about what you just said is a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
And honestly, like anything past that would just be a bonus. You're not
Yeah,
asking for a
exactly.
ton. No, I really like that.
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
want to kind of go back to something you said about not pigeonholing yourself a few
Mhm.
minutes ago.
Sure.
In these singles that are to be released, and also I guess all of your music, are you looking to experiment? A lot of your music, from what I've heard so far, does have a lot of different genre influences. So are you
Mhm.
looking to expand the sound that you've already worked on?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think that from where I started, um, recording wise, back in I think it was 2016 when I put out my first thing. I
Mhm.
had never been in a studio before, so like that whole EP, My Time, was like my first experience with it. And then with Lucid, again, yeah, I was kind of in a vibe where any song I wrote, I didn't really care what genre it was. Each one of them was fun enough that it was an experimental EP, I guess you could say, to
Sure.
the point where I wanted each song to kind of tell its own story and take its own course. As far as like the newer stuff, yeah, I definitely want to start kind of focusing more on what, when you hear Gary Carpentier, like what's the sound that you picture, and it's I want it to be like this. And I think that the other like 3 or 4 songs I've got going on right now are very the same vibe, but also can get a little bit more deeper. I can experiment with some different stuff that you know other little nuances that I can throw into those songs that are still different genre infused, I guess. But yeah,
Mhm.
for the most part, I think the beauty of music, one of the best things you can do as an artist is just be experimental and take different little bits from like R&B or classic rock and
Right.
all that kind of stuff and plug it in. So uh, yeah, I'm not afraid to be experimental, but I definitely like the fact that I found what I sound like as a musician.
Totally. And I think that's really important because, like you said, if you're a fan of music, you'll like your music. So if you're
Yeah.
just making music for one type of person, kind of
Hmm.
excluding everyone else.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. If I were an artist and if I were the one making music, I would definitely be doing the same thing.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, it definitely is hard because people want security when they're listening to musicians. They want to be
Sure.
able to kind of expect what this to expect out of each song and what's coming next. So I mean, I definitely took a leap of faith with putting 5 different styles kind of on it. So but definitely like this pop indie like singer songwriter vibe is
Right.
where I kind of want to sit and feel good at.
I get that. At the same time, though, it feels like every top 40 mainstream release at this point is blurring the lines of everything. Like there is
Exactly.
no specific genre anymore. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, what if we do 30 seconds of this and a minute and a half of that
Right.
to try to hit that wide audience? I think there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
Hmm.
But but I really liked what I heard on Lucid to the point where it's
Well, I
like
appreciate that.
it's
Thanks.
you at the base and the
Hmm.
background is doing its own thing.
Right. Yeah, and again, I had so much fun doing that album, and got to, one of the big things I like to do with my music is if I have anybody else playing on it, um, with Lucid, I had drums, I had bass, guitar, like lead guitar, trumpet. I had my friends, but I wanted to showcase what they can do. So I didn't have any like
Right.
parts written out for them. I literally I gave them the song like maybe a week or two in advance. I said, take it home, do your own thing with it, bring it
Yeah.
back to me, a couple different ideas. And it just was awesome. I loved every second of that.
Well, that's the best kind of fun, is propping your talented friends up
Exactly.
and giving them some work and something to do.
Yeah, I was like, here's some money, just make it sound good.
Exactly. So how do you work on songs? Do you work on songs in batches? Do you work one at a time? You kind of hopping all over the place?
Yeah, this right now is actually the first time I've been working on more than like two songs at a time. I when I was doing the EP, I kind of wrote them like maybe one or two at the same time that kind of overlap. But for the most part, I don't like to overwhelm myself too much. Excuse me. So I try to do one at a time. But I've learned to kind of cancel out other things in my life to make more time and
Right.
more focus on each song. So if I'm feeling, in like a happier mood and I've got one of my songs that I've been working on stuck in my head, like I'll go home and work on it. And then if I'm feeling a little different, I'll go to the other one. Or sometimes I just let it be and let inspiration come, and try not to force it, because that's never a good thing. So
Seems reasonable enough.
yeah, exactly. I feel like it's different with each song, but lately it's been more I can focus on a couple different tunes at a time.
Right. So I want to talk about your musical inspirations a little bit.
Mhm.
Is it something that you're, I guess, trying to create your own sound, or are you trying to model your sound after those who inspired you to become an artist? And also
Sure.
who?
Yeah. I think that one of my biggest influences, at least over the last like probably 3 or 4 years, I'm a big Ben Rector fan. So Ben Rector, John Mayer, Ben Howard, Ben Howard. I just love and admire those guys, like Hozier. Just the way that they write songs, it's all so unique, and it's so I just get attached to all of their songs and the way that they do
Right.
things. So I definitely have taken some inspirations from each of them, but I definitely think that my sound is me more than anything. Like I don't want to obviously copy anybody,
Of course not.
right? Because that's just not fun. But yeah, I think that I try to draw inspiration from them, and if I'm ever like stuck on something, it's always cool to kind of, I'll just be listening to them a lot too, and hear something in a song that maybe I missed the first time that'll click with something new that I've got going on. And so yeah, but I mean, my musical genres or inspirations come from all over the place. Like I grew up on Sam Cooke from like the 50s, 60s.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the crooner stuff. I still love My Chemical Romance. My wife and I, we like drive to
Hell yeah,
her
man.
hometown in Poughkeepsie down by the city. We'll listen. It's like a 3.5 hour drive, and we'll listen to anything like Bayside, Motion City Soundtrack, My Chemical Romance, ABBA. We're all over the place, and I think that's one of the best things about music is it all intertwines, and
I get it.
it's so much fun.
I think I can confidently say not a week has gone by since middle school that I haven't listened to My Chemical Romance.
Oh my god! I know we're trying to go to what is it? Riot Fest. It's Riot Fest in Chicago.
Yeah.
We were gonna go last year, but it got canceled. But My Chemical
Right.
Romance is headlining it, and it's supposed to be this year. So
Yeah. Attempting to get tickets for any of the LA shows was
right.
impossible. Didn't get any. And hoping that, whatever the rescheduled dates are, can make it work, because that would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
But that's going to be great, because Riot Fest looks like a pretty awesome festival.
Yeah, I was like I haven't listened to a lot of that stuff in a long time, but just knowing
it'll bring you back.
Oh yeah, I can't.
For sure.
I'll have to get some Vans, maybe some.
Of course.
Maybe they comb over again.
Yeah, man. Gotta look the part, obviously.
Yeah, right. Put it down.
So were there any specific albums in your life that inspired you to take this path as a musician? Something that you listen to and you're like, I'm gonna make something better than this or like this.
Yeah, I think one of the first albums that really, it's so funny too. One of the first albums that I really attached myself to was Songs About Jane from Maroon 5.
Yes.
And then it all came full circle when back in 2017 I was on The Voice and Adam was my coach. So it was like
Yeah, that's gotta be.
blew my mind, and it was so cool when we got to talk to him because there was a few of us that were like, you don't realize like how much that album shaped our lives, and he was the most down to earth person. So I think it's unique in the sense that I got to talk to the person whose album made me want to be a musician type of thing. So it
Totally.
was, yeah, that's probably like the number one album for me that set the course of where I'm at now.
How did he even react to that? I'm sure it's something that he gets often, but
Sure.
I also assume that the capacity that you're speaking to him, and it's not like a quick it's not like a quick passing by conversation.
Right.
Like you're
Right.
with him. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he can just say see you later. You know what I mean? Like how does that conversation
He
happen?
probably
Have
could
you
have if he wanted. He probably could have been like,
probably,
screw off.
but
Like, all right.
like how does that like I kind of want to hear more on that. I was gonna ask you
Yeah,
about it, but let's just talk about it
you
now.
can. That's I'm an open book, man. It's fine. No, he myself and my good friend Whitney Fenimore, she we both had a long talk about it before we got or after we got picked, but before we like really met him.
Hmm.
We specifically talked about that album, and everybody else was like, "Yeah, I've listened to it," and we're like, "No, that like shaped us."
It's a 10 out of
So
10. I still have it on
yeah,
CD somewhere.
yeah, and it's just one of those things where it was that was probably the most surreal moment was me for me was talking to the person again, talking to the person that
Yeah.
put me in my musical journey in motion. And he was so nice. He was super humble about it. Told us like asked us if we had any other questions like prepared about it, about each song, like how he wrote it and
That's
stuff. And
cool.
it was so cool. And I really embraced that moment a lot, which was, it was life changing. So
That's really cool, man.
yeah, yeah.
Besides that, how was the overall experience on the show? Like, I mean, I don't necessarily have anything specific, but I'd like to know sort of the process of how that works and, how you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, the overall process of The Voice is pretty daunting. It's a pretty long process because you have to go through like basically like 5 or 6 auditions to get to the blind auditions.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, but I
sure of
mean,
it.
it was like 200,000 people that auditioned in the nation, and I was the last one picked out of 48. So it
That's,
was
jeez, man.
yeah. So it was cool. I mean, it's still a reality TV show, so
Of
it's
course.
it is what it is. But I mean, it's gotten me to meet some really cool people. Like I said, I got to work with Adam. I got to work with Joe Jonas. I got to meet some great people that work on the show there. They're all very, very nice. I keep in touch with them on social media. I met a lot of great people through it on different teams, and on my team, I've traveled the country and played shows with them now. And it's one of the best networking opportunities I'll probably ever have at this early stage. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm super grateful for it. I can't ever say,
Oh, no,
wow,
of course
whole
not.
thing sucked. Like, no, it was awesome.
You hear stories from other reality shows, so I'm just happy to hear that this one was, obviously I'm sure
It's
it had its cons and we don't need to talk about those, but
right.
it's all good. I get
Everything like
it.
that has its cons.
Yeah,
The pros sometime outweigh the cons, and it's a reality TV show, and it is what it is. But I'm
yeah,
thankful for the opportunity, and I mean, hey, it's got me here talking to you now. It's got me traveling the country. It's got my songs playing on the radio, so I'm happy about it.
totally, man.
Yeah.
So tell me this, what do you enjoy the most about being an artist and a creative?
I think the thing I like the most is just basically how do I word this without swearing? I don't want to swear.
This is a family friendly show.
I know.
There
I
are no
I
rules here.
love, I love the fact that I can take. I'm a big like comedian. I love to make jokes all day, and I try to be funny and goofy and loud and all this kind of stuff. And I think one of the best things and best reactions I get is when somebody hears me that I play music, they're like, oh, he probably does like comedy, whatever. Then they hear me sing and they're like, whoa, like what is happening?
Yeah.
And I think that one of the biggest things for me is that I can have my personality be, the bubbly, spontaneous, fun person, but then I also take music. Like I take music super serious, but I know how to have fun with it. And I like to tell my side of stuff, my side of things through music. And I haven't found a better medium to express myself than in that way. And I think it's one of the best things about being a creator and a musician is, it's the way that I see the world, and having other people think the same way or have their minds be open to a different perspective is really, I just love all of that stuff. It's such a mind twist, and I love that.
That was a fantastic answer. I'm
Yeah.
serious. No, seriously, that was great. I couldn't have hoped for anything more.
Appreciate it.
So now that you're building up this discography, and we're seeing the return of live shows for the latter half of this year, is there any chance you'll be setting up any amount of touring?
That is one of my big goals. If not this year, absolutely next year.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough that when I do this thing called the Silver Arrow Band. So we do weddings, we do corporate events and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice.
And some of the musicians I have here, Melissa Gardner, for instance, she's our ringleader. She's a jazz trombonist. She played at Madison Square Garden with Wolfpack. She played at Red Rocks Amphitheater with them. She's big time. She's like the chorale of this. And we do anything from like a 5 to like a 25 person band. But I've gotten I've gotten really close with a lot of those guys, and they've helped me out with my solo music. And also we do some like fun takes on covers, but that's like the group I'm going to run with is a lot of them. And hopefully we're going to start booking some stuff, at least in New York State and like the surrounding states. But the goal obviously ultimately is to take it on the road, at least for a couple months, and shoot over to the West Coast and, I've got friends all over the place that I can throw up on stage too and have some fun with it. So, like I said, if it's not by the end of this year, definitely next year.
Very cool. Well, yeah, please make it out this way. I'd love to.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that kind of brings me to my next question. So, like I said, you've got this building discography. Can you pick a single song out of it that you'd most like to perform live? I know they're all your babies, but
I think I'll go with 3. I'll go with 3 of them.
Okay. I'll allow
it. I'll allow it. 9 to 5 off of Lucid is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Just because of the backstory and just how it came about. And also that was the first time I wrote a song, and I recorded it on my phone, I put it down, and I was just like, yes. I think that's a really great one to like even open up a show with, type of thing. I think it'd be great. Drive, the new one, I think that would be awesome. It's a big, crowd pleaser.
Sure.
And I'm really excited about the newest one that I'm working on now. It's called Changin'. It's definitely something that'll be like a crowd involvement song, and just something that will keep people upbeat and just in a really, really good mood, and anybody can relate to it. So yeah, those 3 are probably, I'm just excited to get back out and play live music in general. But
yeah, there's no wrong answer. It's more about getting out there and playing it, and playing to an excited crowd. I just feel like every crowd from here on out is not going to take live music for granted. So
it's going to be my cousin lives in New Zealand, and they had
so jealous.
They had a music festival like a month ago, and it was full blown, and they didn't have anything to worry about because they've just obviously taken care of a step away a lot better. But
nice.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing too, is I was in one of the hot areas in New York State, but I'm fully vaxxed now, and I know a lot of people will be, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there on the road and doing some fun stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. So what are some non-musical goals that you've set for yourself for the rest of this year?
Wow. Um, Non-musical goals. Well, one big thing I like to do is I used to play baseball in college, so I'm a big time athlete.
Nice.
But obviously, baseball's got a lifespan. But I've grown into disc golf, so I've been like having fun with that.
You're not alone. Yeah, I hear that a lot of everyone.
Yeah, I love it, especially because I used to pitch in college, so the arm thing is I can throw it really far, and I'm having fun doing it. But I would just like to get better at that and spend more time outside, spend some more time with my wife and hang out with her. And she's been super supportive of the musical dream and pretty much anything I do. She's just like, yeah, go do it, whatever.
That's awesome. Well, that's someone to keep around for sure.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
The support of someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know, just trying to stay healthy and just try to find more gigging opportunities, but also just just take everything, not take everything for as much granted as it probably did beforehand the pandemic. I think
You're not alone.
Yeah, just really embracing the outdoors time and more time with people and loved ones, because you never know. I'm sure I've lost some people to this year that I didn't get to really see because of everything. And just really kind of embrace one another a little bit more.
Totally understandable. It looks like it's going to be a solid rest of the year, though, as things get better and open up and we can live our lives.
Hopefully.
And, I mean, I have high hopes. At this point, I'm trying to stay as positive as possible.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good.
I mean, my birthday falls on my 30th birthday falls on Memorial Day this year. And I'm hoping that we can at least have some type of gathering where I can see some people we haven't seen in forever. But time will tell. We'll see.
It's true. It might be like a week of a type thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got one more question for you.
Cool.
What message would you like to pass off to the first time listener of your music? Someone who's going to discover you for the first time.
Wow. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
The message, I would say that if you've never listened to me before, something that I do it's always going to be honest, and something that you get from listening to me is you will hear things in a different light. Like it'll make you think about things differently. It'll make you feel. It's something that I have put a lot of time and effort and worked into my craft. And the best thing about this is I'm still learning and still working, but it's something that will make it'll be thought-provoking enough that it'll grab you and you'll want to listen more. And you'll like to even go back to the beginning of my journey, and you can look up my old music and see where I started, where it wasn't so great, to where it is now, where I feel so confident in my musicianship, my vocals, my production value, everything like that. So I think it's one of those things where if you're looking to grow, you can watch my whole journey and grow with it and gravitate towards that.
Perfect. You've convinced me. All right, Gary, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak. It has been a pleasure. For everyone else out there, Drive is out. Listen to it, stream it, check out the rest of his work.
Hell
yeah. I'm really looking forward to more, and I look forward to speaking soon, man.
Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
Bye-bye.